There are places in every city that exist in the margins. Not dangerous. Not safe. Just in between. The kind of place where a cop might stop for coffee at 2 a.m. and sit 3 booths away from someone he's supposed to be looking for. Where neither acknowledges the other. Where the waitress refills both cups without comment. The Red Line Diner is one of those places. Maya Thompson wipes down the counter for the 4th time tonight. Not because it's dirty. Because her hands need something to do. She's been on shift since 6. It's now 20 past midnight. The cook clocked out 30 minutes ago. The manager won't return until morning. It's just her, the hum of the industrial refrigerator, and the low static crackle of the FM radio playing something she doesn't recognize. She hums along anyway. Not because she knows the tune. But because silence makes the hours feel longer. She doesn't notice the black sedan that pulls up outside. Doesn't see the way it idles for 7 seconds longer than necessary. Doesn't hear the brief exchange between the driver and the men in the back. But she hears the door. The hinge squeaks. It always does. Maya looks up. 3 men step inside. She notices the stillness first. Not the kind that comes from exhaustion. The kind that comes from absolute control. The kind of quiet that makes a room instinctively hold its breath. The man in front is tall. Lean. Dressed in a way that doesn't belong here. His suit is tailored with surgical precision. His shoes are polished to a low sheen. His posture is exact. Behind him, 2 others. Broader. Younger. Alert. Maya straightens. She's worked this neighborhood long enough to recognize power when it walks through the door. Evening, she says. Her voice is steady. Professional. Sit anywhere you like. The tall man doesn't respond immediately. He walks toward the back corner booth. The one with a clear sight line to the entrance and the street beyond. His men follow. Maya gives them a moment. Men like this prefer not to be rushed. She refills the coffee pot. Checks the register. Adjusts the napkin dispenser. Then she picks up 3 laminated menus and walks over. Can I get you something to drink while you decide? The man in the center, tall, controlled, unreadable, doesn't look up. Water, he says quietly. His voice is soft. But it carries weight. The 2 men beside him echo the order without speaking. Maya nods. Sets the menus down gently. Turns. Wait. She stops. Looks back. You work here alone? The man asks. Maya meets his eyes. This time of night, yeah. He nods once. Thank you. It's polite. Almost courteous. But something in his tone suggests it's not about gratitude. It's about inventory. Maya walks back to the counter. Maya returns with the water. Sets the glasses down without sound. Ready to order, she asks. Soup, the man says. Still without looking up. Whatever you have. Chicken noodle or tomato? Chicken. Same for both of you, she asks the others. They nod in unison. Maya writes it down. She's about to turn when the man speaks again. Quiet tonight. It's not quite a question. But it hangs in the air like one. Maya pauses. Weeknight. Late. Usually is. He nods once. She walks back toward the kitchen. The kitchen is small. Cramped. Industrial. The soup sits in a steel container on low heat. She ladles 3 bowls, sets them on a tray with sleeves of crackers and wrapped spoons. And she hums. It's a habit she picked up from her grandmother. A soft, wandering melody with no words. Just a tune that used to fill the kitchen on Sunday mornings when her grandmother made cornbread and greens. Maya never learned the name of the song. Never thought to ask. It was just there. Like the smell of butter. Like the sound of the screen door. She carries the tray back into the dining area. The melody continues under her breath. She's not performing. She's not even aware of it. It's just there. Like breathing. She approaches the booth. Sets the first bowl in front of the man on the left. Then the man on the right. Then she leans forward to place the third bowl in front of the man in the center. And everything stops. The man's hand, resting on the table, goes rigid. His jaw locks. His entire body stills in a way that has nothing to do with control and everything to do with recognition. Maya doesn't notice at first. She's still humming. Still setting the bowl down gently. Still reaching into her apron for the wrapped spoon. But then she feels it. The weight of his stare. She stops humming. Looks at him. Something wrong? She asks quietly. He doesn't answer. His eyes are fixed on her face. Not in appraisal. Not in threat. In recognition. Like she's someone he thought was dead. Where did you hear that? He asks. His voice is low. Controlled. But there's a tremor beneath it. Maya blinks. Hear what? That song. She hesitates. Glances at the two men beside him. They're staring at her now too. Not with suspicion. With concern. For him. I wasn't singing, she says carefully. You were humming it. Maya shifts her weight. I don't know. It's just, something my grandmother used to hum. I don't even know what it's called. The man stares at her. For 5 full seconds, he says nothing. The diner is silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the faint static of the radio. Then the man leans back slowly. His hands unfold. He places them flat on the table. His breathing is deliberate. Measured. Your grandmother, he says quietly. Where was she from? Maya's pulse picks up. Not from fear. From confusion. Atlanta, she says. But her mother, my great-grandmother, she was from somewhere rural. Virginia, maybe. Or the Carolinas. She never talked about it much. The man's eyes don't leave her face. And the song? Maya shakes her head slowly. I don't know. She just hummed it. When she cooked. When she folded laundry. I picked it up without thinking. The man exhales. It's quiet. But it's the first breath he's taken in 30 seconds that wasn't forced. What's your name? He asks. Maya. He nods. Slowly. Like he's committing it to memory. Maya, he repeats. Then he looks down at the soup. He doesn't touch it. I'll leave you to it, Maya says softly. She steps back. Turns. Walks toward the counter. And the entire time, she feels his eyes on her back. Behind the counter, Maya presses her palms against the cool laminate surface. Her heartbeat is louder than it should be. Not because she's afraid. But because something just happened. Something she doesn't understand. And she has the strangest feeling that whatever it was. It wasn't small. Back in the booth, Kang Jiwon sits perfectly still. His men say nothing. Miho, seated to his left, watches him carefully. He's worked for Jiwon for 11 years. He's seen him negotiate with men who wanted him dead. He's seen him walk into ambushes and walk out in control. He has never seen him look like this. Sungji, on the right, keeps his eyes on the door. That's his job. Perimeter. Always. But even he noticed the shift. The way the boss's breathing stopped. The way his hands locked. Jiwon stares at the soup. Steam rises. blurs his vision. And for just a moment, a single, unguarded moment, he's not here. He's somewhere else. Somewhere smaller. Somewhere warmer. He is 7 years old. Sitting at a table that wobbles when you lean on it. His mother is at the stove. Humming. The melody is soft. Unfinished. It doesn't have words. But it fills the kitchen the way sunlight fills a jar. She turns. Smiles at him. Sets a bowl in front of him. Eats slowly. It's hot. He doesn't remember what the soup tasted like. But he remembers the song. He remembers her hands. He remembers the way she looked at him, like he was enough. Jiwon blinks. The memory dissolves. He's back. The diner. The booth. The soup. His men beside him, silent and watchful. And across the room. The waitress. Wiping down the same counter she wiped when they walked in. Miho leans forward slightly. "Boss," he says quietly. "You want us to?" "No," Jiwon says. His voice is firm. Final. Miho leans back without another word. Jiwon picks up the spoon. Dips it into the soup. Brings it to his lips. Tastes nothing. Minutes pass. The three men eat in silence. Or rather, two of them eat. Jiwon moves his spoon through the bowl but swallows very little. Maya doesn't approach again unless necessary. She's learned to read rooms. And this room is fragile. Eventually, Sungji stands. Walks to the counter. "We're finished," he says quietly. Maya nods. Rings up the check. Slides it across the counter. Sungji places two $50 bills on top of it. "Keep it," he says. Maya looks at the bills. Then at him. "The total's 18. I know." He turns and walks back. Maya stares at the money. Then picks it up. Folds it. Slips it into her apron. She's worked here long enough to know that some tips aren't about generosity. They're about making sure you remember to forget. The three men stand. Jiwon moves last. He buttons his suit jacket with slow, precise motions. Walks toward the door. But halfway there. He stops. Turns. Looks back at Maya. "Thank you," he says. It's quiet. But it carries the weight of something much heavier. Maya nods. "You're welcome." He holds her gaze for 2 full seconds. Then turns. And walks out into the rain. The door closes. The hinge squeaks. The black sedan pulls away from the curb, taillights fading into the rain. And Maya is alone again. She stands there. Exhales. Then walks back to the booth. Clears the dishes. Wipes down the table. And as she works, she hums. The same melody. Soft. Unconscious. A song with no name. Some moments don't announce themselves. They slip in through a side door. Through a melody you didn't know you remembered. Through the eyes of a stranger who suddenly isn't. If you've ever had a moment like that, where something small cracked something you thought was sealed, then you already know what just happened here. This isn't a story that shouts. It's one that hums. And if you're still here, still listening, then you're exactly where you need to be. Stories like this don't chase you. They wait. And when you're ready, they're still here. Outside, the rain is steady. Not heavy. Just persistent. The kind of rain that makes the city look like it's been dipped in oil and neon. The black sedan moves through it like a shadow. No sirens. No lights. Just the low hum of the engine and the rhythmic scrape of wipers against glass. Miho drives. Sungji sits in the passenger seat, checking his phone once before pocketing it. In the back, Jiwon hasn't moved. His hand rests on his knee. His breathing is even. His posture controlled. But his mind is elsewhere. They cross the bridge. The river below is black. City lights shimmer on its surface like scattered coins. Jiwon's eyes trace the movement of the water. But he's not seeing it. He's hearing it. That melody. Soft. Wandering. Incomplete. It loops in his mind like a song he forgot he knew. He closes his eyes. And just for a moment, he lets himself remember. 23 years ago. Busan. South Korea. A fourth-floor apartment in a building with no elevator. Thin walls. Loud neighbors. A window overlooking a fish market that smells like salt and gasoline. Jiwon is 24 years old. He sits at the kitchen table, counting cash. Bills stacked in neat piles. His mother stands at the stove, stirring soup. She hums. The melody fills the cramped space like warmth. Jiwon doesn't look up. He's focused. Calculating. Planning his next move. "You're leaving again," his mother says quietly. "It's not a question." "Tomorrow," he replies. She nods. Doesn't turn around. "When will you come back?" "I don't know." She stops stirring. For a long moment, there's only the sound of the fish market outside. Vendors shouting. Motorbikes backfiring. Then she starts humming again. Jiwon stands. Folds the money. Puts it in his jacket pocket. "I'll send you more next month," he says. She turns. Looks at him. Her face is soft. Sad. But not angry. "I don't need more money, Jiwon." He doesn't respond. Because he knows what she's asking for. And he can't give it. She walks toward him. Places her hand on his cheek. "You look tired," she says softly. He doesn't pull away. But he doesn't lean in either. "I'm fine." She searches his face. Then nods. "Be careful." "I will." She kisses his forehead. And as she pulls away, she hums again. That same melody. Soft. Unfinished. Full of something he doesn't have a name for. Jiwon leaves the next morning. He doesn't come back. Not the next month. Not the month after. 3 years later, she dies. Alone. In that same apartment. With the window still overlooking the fish market. And no one there to hear her hum. Jiwon opens his eyes. The memory dissolves. He's back in the car. The bridge is behind them. They're moving through the financial district now. Skyscrapers rise on either side like glass pillars. "Boss." Miho's voice cuts through the silence. Jiwon blinks. "What?" "We're here." Jiwon looks out the window. They've stopped in front of a sleek high-rise. Glass. Steel. Expensive silence. This is where he lives. 32nd floor. Corner unit. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city he controls but doesn't feel part of. It cost more than his mother made in her entire life. "You need anything?" Miho asks, glancing in the rearview. Jiwon shakes his head. "No. Go home." Miho hesitates. He's known Jiwon long enough to recognize when something's wrong. "You sure you're good?" Jiwon meets his eyes in the mirror. "I'm sure." Miho nods. He knows better than to push. Jiwon steps out of the car. The rain has lightened to a drizzle. He walks toward the entrance without looking back. Inside, the lobby is pristine. Marble floors. Minimalist furniture. A single attendant behind a desk who nods respectfully as Jiwon passes. Jiwon doesn't acknowledge it. He steps into the elevator. Presses 32. The doors close. The elevator hums. Floors pass in silence. 32, 31. 30. Jiwon stares at his reflection in the polished steel. He looks the same as he did an hour ago. But something feels different. Something has shifted. The elevator stops. Doors open. He steps into the hallway. Unlocks his door. Steps inside. The apartment is dark. He doesn't turn on the lights. He walks straight to the floor-to-ceiling window. Looks out at the city below. Thousands of lights. Thousands of lives he'll never touch. And somewhere down there. A diner. A waitress. A song. He closes his eyes. And he hears it again. That melody. Not in his memory this time. Right here. Right now. Like it followed him home. Like it's been waiting for him all along. Meanwhile. Back at the diner. Maya locks the front door. Flips the sign to closed. Turns off the overhead lights. The kitchen is already clean. The register balanced. The chairs stacked on tables. She's done this routine 1,000 times. But tonight feels different. She walks to the back room. Grabs her jacket. Her bag. Checks her phone. 2 missed calls from her sister. She'll call back tomorrow. She steps outside into the damp night air. The rain has stopped. The street is empty except for a single taxi idling at the corner. She pulls her jacket tighter and starts walking. As she walks, she hums. The same melody. She doesn't think about it. Doesn't question it. It's just there. Like breathing. Like the sound of her footsteps on wet pavement. 3 blocks away, she reaches the bus stop. Sits on the bench. Pulls out her phone. Scrolls absently. And then, without meaning to, she thinks about him. The man in the suit. The way he looked at her. Not like a threat. Like a question. She doesn't know his name. Doesn't know where he came from. Doesn't know why a song she barely remembers made him freeze like that. But she knows one thing. That moment, whatever it was. It mattered. The bus arrives. She steps on. Finds a seat near the back. Rests her head against the window. And as the bus pulls away into the night. She hums again. Softly. Without thinking. Some encounters don't resolve. They echo. They linger in the melody you can't shake. In the stranger's face you can't forget. In the weight of a moment that felt heavier than it should have. This is one of those stories. If you've ever had a moment like that, where something small cracked something you thought was sealed, then you already know what this feels like. And if you're still here, still listening, still letting this settle, then you're exactly where you need to be. Stories like this don't chase. They wait. And when you're ready, they're still here. Morning comes slowly. Gray light filters through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Jiwon's apartment. He's still awake. Still sitting in the same chair by the window. His jacket is draped over the armrest. His tie unknotted. His shirt wrinkled. He hasn't moved in hours. He stares at the city waking up beneath him. And he thinks. Not about territories. Not about debts or alliances or the shipment coming in Thursday. About a song. About a woman who hummed it without knowing why. About his mother, who hummed it when she thought no one was listening. His phone buzzes on the table beside him. He glances at it. A message from Miho. Meeting at 10. Confirmed. Jiwon doesn't respond. Instead, he picks up the phone. Opens his contacts. Scrolls. Stops. There's a name he hasn't looked at in years. Aunt Myung-suk. His mother's younger sister. They haven't spoken since the funeral. He stares at the name for a long time. Then presses call. It rings. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then. Hello. Her voice is older than he remembers. But still familiar. It's me, he says quietly in Korean. Jiwon. There's a pause. A long one. Jiwon. She repeats his name like she's testing whether it's real. It's been a long time. I know. Another pause. Why are you calling? Jiwon exhales slowly. I need to ask you something. About what? About Mom. Silence on the other end. Then. What about her? Jiwon hesitates. He's not sure how to ask this without sounding insane. Do you remember a song she used to hum? A song? Yes. No words. Just a melody. She hummed it when she cooked. Or when she was folding laundry. Do you remember it? There's a long pause. Then his aunt speaks softly. Variations. But not the common one. It was older. Something our grandmother taught us when we were children. Jiwon's chest tightens. Where did it come from? Our grandmother learned it from her mother. And she learned it from hers. It goes back generations, Jiwon. Was it Korean? His aunt pauses. Yes. But also no. Jiwon frowns. What does that mean? She sighs. It's complicated. Our grandmother's family wasn't just from one place. There was migration. Movement. During the occupation, during the war, people carried songs across borders. Across oceans. What are you saying? I'm saying the song didn't belong to one place. It belonged to the people who carried it. And they carried it far. Jiwon stares out the window. How far? I don't know. But I know it survived. That's what mattered to them. He closes his eyes. Did ever talk about it? No, his aunt says quietly. She just hummed it. The way her mother did. The way I still do sometimes. Jiwon's throat tightens. Thank you, he says. Jiwon. I have to go. He ends the call. He sits in silence. The city hums below. And for the first time in years, Jiwon feels something he thought he'd buried so deep it couldn't surface. Grief. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a quiet, relentless ache. That evening. Jiwon returns to the diner. Alone. No Miho. No Sungji. He drives himself. Parks half a block away. Walks. The diner looks the same. Flickering neon. Scratched glass door. The hinge that squeaks. He steps inside. Maya looks up from wiping the counter. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Then she nods. Back again, she says quietly. Is that all right? He asks. It's a diner. You're a customer. He almost smiles. Almost. Same booth? She asks. If it's available. It is. He walks to the back corner. Sits. Maya brings him water without being asked. Sets it down gently. You want the soup again? No, he says. Just coffee. She nods. Turns to leave. Wait. She stops. Looks back. Can I ask you something? Jiwon says. Maya hesitates. Then nods. Sure. That song. The one you were humming. Do you know where your grandmother learned it? Maya shifts her weight. Not really. She never talked about it much. But I know her mother, my great-grandmother, she came from the South. Rural Virginia, I think. Or maybe the Carolinas. The family moved around. Jiwon nods slowly. And before that? Maya frowns. Before that? Where did her family come from? Originally. Maya crosses her arms. Not defensively. Thoughtfully. I don't know the whole story. My grandmother didn't like talking about the past. Said it hurt. But I know there were complications. Mixed heritage. People who didn't fit into neat boxes. She pauses. Why are you asking? Jiwon looks down at his hands. Because my mother used to hum that same song. Maya goes still. What? The melody you were humming. It's the same one my mother sang when I was a child. In Korea. Maya stares at him. That doesn't make sense. I know. Silence settles between them. Heavy. But not uncomfortable. How? Maya asks finally. I don't know, Jiwon admits. But I called my aunt this morning. She said the song goes back generations. That it traveled. Across borders. Across oceans. That people carried it. Maya's eyes widen slightly. You think, someone in my family and someone in yours. Crossed paths, Jiwon finishes. Somewhere. Somehow. Maya sits down across from him. Slowly. Without asking. That's. She trails off. That's incredible. Or impossible. Maybe both. Jiwon looks at her. Really looks at her. And for the first time, he sees her not as a stranger. But as a bridge. Between his past and his present. Between what he lost and what survived. My grandmother, Maya says slowly, used to say that songs were like rivers. They flowed where they needed to go. And sometimes, they carried pieces of people with them. Jiwon's chest tightens. My mother said something similar. Maya smiles faintly. Then maybe they were both right. Jiwon nods. For a long moment, neither of them speaks. Then Maya stands. I'll get your coffee. Thank you. She walks away. And as she does, she hums. Softly. Almost unconsciously. Jiwon closes his eyes. And he hears it. Not as a ghost this time. As something alive. As a gift he didn't know he needed. There are moments when the distance between two worlds collapses. Not through force. Through memory. Through melody. Through the quiet realization that the past is never as far away as we think. This is one of those moments. If this story has made you think about the songs you carry, the ones you never questioned, the ones that just were, then you already understand what's happening here. And if you're still here, still with us, still letting this unfold, then you're part of something that doesn't ask for noise. It asks for presence. Stay. Breathe. Reflect. And when you're ready, there's more. Maya returns with the coffee. Sets it down gently in front of Jiwon. Steam rises between them like a question neither knows how to ask. She doesn't walk away this time. She lingers. One hand resting on the back of the opposite booth seat. Can I ask you something? She says quietly. Jiwon looks up. Of course. Why did you come back? Jiwon wraps his hands around the coffee cup. The heat seeps into his palms. He stares into the dark liquid. Because I needed to understand, he says finally. Understand what? How something I thought died with my mother could still be alive. Maya's expression softens. She slides into the seat across from him. Not as a waitress. As a person. My grandmother used to say that nothing really dies, Maya says softly. It just changes shape. Moves through different hands. Different voices. Jiwon looks at her. You sound like her. Maya smiles faintly. I hope so. She was the strongest person I ever knew. What happened to her? Cancer. 3 years ago. I'm sorry. Me too. Silence settles between them. Not awkward. Shared. Jiwon takes a slow breath. My mother died alone, he says. I wasn't there. Maya doesn't respond immediately. She just listens. I told myself I was building something, Jiwon continues. Something that mattered. Something that would make her proud. He pauses. But I was lying. I was running. And by the time I realized it, she was gone. Maya reaches across the table. Slowly. Places her hand on his. Not romantically. Just human. She knew, Maya says quietly. Jiwon looks up. You don't know that. I do. Because my grandmother knew. Even when I didn't call. Even when I was too tired or too busy or too young to understand what she needed. She knew I loved her. Jiwon's jaw tightens. How? Because love isn't just presence. It's the weight you carry. And you're still carrying her. Jiwon stares at their hands. For a long moment, he doesn't move. Then, slowly, he turns his hand over. Holds hers. Just for a moment. Then lets go. Tell me about her, Maya says. Your mother. Jiwon hesitates. He's not used to this. Talking. Remembering. Feeling. But something in Maya's eyes makes it feel safe. She was small, he says quietly. Barely 5 feet tall. But she had this presence. When she walked into a room, you noticed. Maya smiles. Sounds like she had fire. She did. But she was also gentle. Kind. She never raised her voice. He pauses. She worked in a garment factory. 12-hour shifts. 6 days a week. Her hands were always raw from the needles. But she never complained, Jiwon continues. Never asked for anything. She just endured. And the song? Maya asks. Jiwon nods slowly. She hummed it when things were hard. When the bills piled up. When I told her I was leaving. His voice cracks slightly. It was the only thing that made her feel safe. Maya's chest tightens. She knows that weight. She's carried it too. My grandmother had a song like that, she says. Not the same one. But it did the same thing. It held her together when nothing else could. Jiwon looks at her. Do you still remember it? Every note. Will you sing it for me someday? Maya smiles. Maybe. They sit in silence for a while. The diner hums around them. Refrigerator. Fluorescent lights. Distant traffic. But between them, only stillness. Finally, Maya speaks. Can I ask you something else? Yes. What do you do? For work. Jiwon's expression shifts. Just slightly. The warmth retreats. The armor returns. I manage investments, he says carefully. Maya tilts her head. That's not what I asked. Jiwon looks at her. She doesn't flinch. Doesn't look away. You don't want to know, he says quietly. Maybe not, Maya says. But I'm asking anyway. Jiwon exhales slowly. I control things, he says finally. Territories. Operations. People who don't ask questions. Maya nods. And that makes you powerful. Yes. Does it make you happy? Jiwon doesn't answer. Because he can't. Because the answer is no. And admitting that, even to himself, feels like failure. Maya leans back. My grandmother used to say that power without peace is just noise. Jiwon almost smiles. She sounds wise. She was. What would she have said about me? Jiwon asks. Maya considers this. She would have said you're searching for something you already had. Jiwon's breath catches. And what's that? Home. The word hits him like a fist. Because it's true. He spent 20 years building an empire. And not once, has he felt at home. They sit in silence. Then Jiwon speaks quietly. Will you hum it for me? The song. Maya hesitates. Then nods. She closes her eyes. And she hums. Maya finishes the melody. Opens her eyes. Sees him. Doesn't say anything. Just reaches across the table. Holds his hand. And lets him breathe. There are truths we spend our entire lives avoiding. Not because they're complicated. But because they're simple. And simplicity, real simplicity, demands that we let go of the armor we've built. Jiwon is standing at that edge now. And if you've ever stood there too, if you've ever realized that the thing you've been chasing was never the thing you needed, then you know exactly what this costs. Stay with us. This story isn't over. But it's reaching the place where something must change. Where something must break. Or heal. When Jiwon finally leaves that night, he's different. Not fixed. Not healed. But cracked open. And that's enough. He drives home slowly. No music. No phone calls. Just the sound of rain on the windshield. When he arrives at his building, he doesn't go upstairs. He sits in the car. Stares at the lobby through the glass. And thinks about his mother. He thinks about the apartment in Busan. The wobbling table. The smell of soup. The sound of her humming. And he realizes something. He's been running from that apartment his entire life. Not because it was painful. But because it was everything. And he was terrified that if he ever went back, even in memory, he'd realize that nothing he built was worth what he left behind. He takes out his phone. Opens his contacts. Finds his aunt's number again. Stares at it. Then types a message in Korean. I want to visit her grave. Will you come with me? He sends it. 3 minutes later, his phone buzzes. Yes. When? Jiwon stares at the screen. Then types. Soon. 2 weeks later. Busan, South Korea. Jiwon stands in front of a small grave marker. Simple stone. His mother's name carved in Hangul, Kang Jiwon. His aunt stands beside him. Silent. Respectful. He kneels. Places white chrysanthemums on the grave. Her favorite. And then, he hums. The melody his mother used to sing. The melody a waitress in another country hummed without knowing why. The melody that survived. His aunt's breath catches. She recognizes it. And she begins to hum with him. The sound rises. Soft. Fragile. But unbroken. Jiwon stays at the grave until the sun begins to set. His aunt eventually leaves. But he remains. Sitting on the grass. Talking to his mother. Telling her things he should have said years ago. I'm sorry I ran, he says quietly. I'm sorry I thought power mattered more than you. I'm sorry I let you die alone. His voice cracks. But I'm here now. And I'm listening. The wind picks up. Carries the scent of earth and flowers. And for just a moment, Jiwon swears he hears it. Her voice. Not in words. But in the melody. Humming. Forgiving. Welcoming him home. 3 days later. Jiwon sits in his apartment. The city sprawls below him. But he's not looking at it. He's looking at a photograph. His mother. Taken 30 years ago. Standing in front of that same apartment building. Smiling. He hasn't looked at this photo in a decade. His phone rings. Unknown number. American area code. He answers. Hello. Jiwon. It's Maya. His chest tightens. How did you get this number? You left your business card on the table. The second night you came in. He smiles faintly. I did. I hope that's okay. It is. There's a pause. Then Maya speaks. I just wanted to check on you. You seemed. I don't know. Like you were carrying something heavy. Jiwon looks at the photograph in his hand. I was, he says quietly. But I put it down. Good, Maya says. That's good. Another pause. Will you come back, she asks. To the diner? Jiwon looks out the window. I don't think so. Why not? Because I think I need to stay here for a while. Where she is. Maya is quiet for a moment. Then she says softly, I think she'd like that. I think so too. Take care of yourself, Jiwon. You too, Maya. He hangs up. 6 months later. Jiwon hasn't returned to America. He stayed in Busan. He visits his mother's grave every Sunday. Brings flowers. Sits. Talks. He stepped back from the organization. Let others handle the day-to-day. He doesn't need the control anymore. He just needs the quiet. And sometimes, when the wind is right, he hums. The same melody his mother sang. The same melody Maya hummed in a diner halfway across the world. The melody that didn't die. It just traveled. Meanwhile. The diner. Late at night. Maya wipes down the counter. The radio plays softly in the background. She hums along. Not the same song she hummed that night. A different one. One her grandmother taught her. But it serves the same purpose. It keeps her connected. To the past. To the people she's lost. To the parts of herself that refuse to disappear. The door opens. A young woman walks in. Looks tired. Lost. Maya looks up. Smiles. Sit anywhere you like. The young woman sits in the back corner booth. The same booth where Jiwon used to sit. Maya brings her water. A menu. And as she walks away, she hums. The young woman hears it. Freezes. Wait, she says quietly. Maya stops. Turns. That song, the young woman says. Where did you learn that? Maya smiles gently. My grandmother taught me. The young woman's breath catches. Mine too. And the cycle continues. Legacy isn't what we build. It's what we carry. It's the song that survives when everything else crumbles. The melody passed from hand to hand, generation to generation, across oceans and borders and time. Jiwon's mother died alone. But her song lived. It found a waitress in a diner. It broke a man who thought he was unbreakable. It reminded him that the only thing worth passing on is love. Not power. Not control. Not empire. Just the quiet, unfinished melody of home. So here's the question. The one that sits at the center of everything. The one Jiwon had to answer. The one we all have to answer. If you heard a song that reminded you of someone you lost. Someone you left behind. Someone you never said goodbye to. What would you do? Would you run? Or would you finally go home? If this story stayed with you. If it made you think about the songs you carry, the people you've lost, the homes you left behind. Then it did what it was meant to do. Stories like this don't demand attention. They ask for presence. And you gave it. Thank you. If you want more stories like this, quiet ones, human ones, ones that don't rush past the details, then stay connected here. Not for the algorithm. Not for the noise. But for the conversation. Because these stories matter. And so do you.